Three stripes and you're in. Brand sponsorship, sporting affiliation, and the cultural history of commercial sport. Hi everybody. Like everyone else I know in Canada, I am currently obsessed with the World Cup. Although normally a hockey guy, as evidenced by my recent heated rivalry article that was just published, thank you Journal of Popular Television, I am now all in it for the footy. I was Team Canada, then Team England. Although fashion-wise, I did think that big blonde dude from Norway with all the Hermes bags was pretty extra. Coming down to the final, although I was definitely torn between the two teams, I have to say I am Team Spain. Perdóneme, Mariana. I just had such a fantastic time last fall in Madrid, conducting research at the Museo del Traje. Now, as a fashion scholar, one key point really stands out for me. Adidas sponsors both teams, so effectively Nike has been kicked out of the World Cup of global sports branding. This coincides with my ongoing fashion research around fashion's communication. And you may recall I have a lecture on counterfeit sports kits up on my YouTube, Mark O'Connell Studio. So, let's talk about how the athletic body becomes a logoed and mediated body. My focus is sports sponsorship, competition clothing, and athlete-led fashion with examples from FIFA World Cup as well as Serena Williams. The central argument here is that sponsorship does more than place a corporate logo beside athletic performance. It turns the athlete's persona into an interface connecting brands, governing institutions, media industries, national identities, as well as consumer culture. First, I want to introduce my theoretical framework, and I'm using the work of Dick Hebdige and Celia Lury. Let's talk, first of all, Dick Hebdige. So his book, Subculture, The Meaning of Style, which was published in the late 1970s, examined how post-war British youth cultures used clothing, music, hairstyles, and everyday fashion to communicate identity. Groups such as punks, mods, and teddy boys took familiar fashion and placed them into new combinations. Through this process, the fashion became signs of affiliation, distinction, and resistance at times. Hebdige called this process bricolage. The cultural meaning of an object was shaped by how it was worn, combined, displayed, and finally interpreted. A safety pin, for example, has very real, practical domestic functions. Within punk style, though, once it pierces a cheek, it becomes embodied, anti-fashion, and confrontational. The object itself stayed a commodity even as its social meaning radically shifted. So this concept can be applied to sporting fashion as well. A football shirt, tennis dress, or a pair of trainers may begin as a commercially manufactured fashion object. Athletes and supporters can then place that object within new cultural arrangements. An Adidas tracksuit might signify football heritage, hip-hop culture, urban identity, nostalgia, or knowledge of a particular historical period. I definitely remember in the 70s I was desperate for a real Adidas tracksuit, and my mom said, well, you play softball, you aren't even on the track team. No way. The meaning of a garment really depends on the wearer, the setting, and the audience, as well as the other fashion objects surrounding it. Now, Celia Lury provides a complementary way to understand this process. In her book, Brands, the Logos of Global Economy from 2004, she argues that a brand should be understood as a relational object. So for her, it existed across product, advertisements, shops, legal agreements, digital platforms, consumers, as well as institutions. Consider Adidas. It appears on football kit. It has sponsorship contracts. It has archival collections, as well as a great Yohji Yamamoto collaboration. The three-stripe logo is what connects all these different objects and settings. It creates the appearance of a coherent identity across a changing range of products and cultural contexts. Lury describes the brand as an interface, something that brings actors and processes into relation with each other. In sport, the brand connects athletes, their clubs, broadcasters, supporters, and finally consumers. The sponsor supplies the money and the design kit, as well as promotional support. The athletes supply the performance, visibility, personality, as well as cultural status. We, the audience, supply our attention, emotional investment, basically investing clout and social media traction into a specific item of dress. The brand also organizes our time, as a new shirt or a new shoe is presented as innovative, while its value may depend upon references to earlier victories and famous athletes. Sportswear brands repeatedly combine this novelty with heritage. Now let's talk about some examples. Adidas, Nike, and the World Cup is a big one. The 2026 Men's FIFA World Cup final provides a great example of the athletic body as a logoed interface. Argentina and Spain reached the final wearing their Adidas kits. Now, Nike had sponsored 12 national teams in this tournament, yet its remaining teams were eliminated by the semis. Adidas supplied 14 teams, served as an official tournament sponsor, and provided the match ball. This meant that Adidas will dominate the finals visual field. Its designs and logos will appear during national anthems, match action celebrations, as well as the trophy presentations, no matter who wins. The result gives Adidas a significant visibility advantage. Although the company could not determine which teams reached the final, sponsorship purchased access to the competition. Sporting performance determined how valuable that access in turn became. The national team shirt is really interesting because it combines corporate branding with national representation. A player's body carries the flag, a federation badge, a manufacturer's logo, squad number, and sometimes individual commercial associations. The sporting body, therefore, becomes a meeting point between the sartorial nationalism of their country and the commercial marketplace. Supporters may read the same t-shirt or same kit through nationality, ancestry, team loyalty, or admiration for a particular player. The brand enters these affiliations without fully controlling any of them. I had a great conversation with some folks at a talk I gave last week in Toronto about how, because we're such an international city, every team had a group of supporters in the city with nationally branded sportswear. However, basically nobody had any Team Canada sports for soccer. Right? So everybody wore their hockey jerseys for Team Canada. All right, so second example, I want to talk about Serena Williams and the regulation of athletic fashion. So Williams demonstrates how the female athletic persona is regulated through clothing, institutional authority, and media commentary. You may remember during the 2018 French Open, Williams wore a black Nike catsuit. The garment was connected to her recovery from serious health conditions following childbirth. It provided compression and addressed concerns related to blood circulation. It also created a very striking visual image that Williams associated with strength and superhero aesthetics. As she stated, it made her feel like a warrior princess. She looked amazing. However, French officials subsequently banned the outfit, stating it was disrespectful to the game. The debate revealed that sporting dress codes are never purely technical. They express assumptions about propriety and institutional control. The response also illustrates incorporation. Nike benefited from the visibility and controversy surrounding the garment. Williams' challenge to tennis convention became part of the sponsor's broader identity as a company associated with individual expression and cultural disruption. So Williams later appeared at the US Open in a tutu-inspired outfit designed in collaboration with Virgil Abloh. The look combined ballet references with elite athletic performance. It responded indirectly to the French Open controversy through fashion, I would say humor, and spectacle. So in conclusion, these examples demonstrate that sporting bodies and personas are shaped through a continuous negotiation among athletes, sponsors, institutions, media, and us as the audience. The World Cup shows how athletic kit can carry national and corporate identity at the same time. Serena Williams shows how competition clothing can expose the deep regulations that are happening in the industry. Sport is one of the most productive sites for studying the corporate mediated body because athletic bodies are continuously filmed, replayed, and commercialized. The meanings that come from that are produced through performance, yet performance is always presented through much wider systems of representation. This is Dr. Mark Joseph O'Connell. I have a couple questions for you. One, who are you rooting for the World Cup final 2026? Do people care about the kit design? I mean, I look at it as a former designer, and I look at how things, it's visually a very engaging object for me. Do people care? And do you agree that Argentina has already taken the World Cup for style with their kit this year? Okay, thanks everybody. The full lecture for this is actually up on my YouTube, where I have more examples, and it's a longer lecture on Mark O'Connell Studio YouTube. Bye everybody.